Brothers and sisters, today I stand before you with a revelation that is shaking the foundations of the world order. Burkina Faso, a nation the West dismissed as weak, dependent, and forever trapped in their chains, has just secured the largest deal in our history, an $80 billion mega infrastructure agreement with India. Yes, you heard me correctly, $80 billion. Not loans hidden with interest rates designed to enslave us, not aid designed to humiliate us, but a partnership, a vision, a bond between two nations rising from centuries of exploitation, determined to take their destiny into their own hands. This is not simply an announcement. This is not just another agreement. No, this is a declaration of war against the lie that Africa must always depend on the West. It is a declaration of independence louder than any speech, stronger than any flag, and more powerful than any weapon. And make no mistake, my people, the West is in absolute shock. In Washington, they are panicking. In Paris, they are trembling. In London, they are scrambling. Why? Because for the first time, Burkina Faso has turned away from their chains and walked into the arms of a new future. They thought they owned our destiny. They thought they could decide for us when to build, how to build, and with whom to build. But today we tell them, enough is enough. With this $80 billion deal, we will build highways that connect our villages to our cities and our cities to the world. We will construct railways that move not only goods but opportunities. We will erect factories that transform our raw resources into finished products. We will raise schools and universities where our children will learn not to be servants, but to be masters of their own destiny. We will open hospitals where our people will no longer die of preventable diseases. We will power our land with electricity, irrigate our farms, and ensure that hunger becomes a memory of the past. And listen well, because this is what terrifies the West most. This deal is not just about Burkina Faso, it is about Africa. If we can do it, then so can Mali, Niger, Ghana, Nigeria, Ethiopia, South Africa, and beyond. This is the beginning of a chain reaction across the continent, where the old masters will watch their empire crumble not because of war, but because of African unity, African strength, and African vision. They will tell you it is impossible. They will whisper lies about debt traps. They will invent stories about hidden dangers. But we know the truth. The only danger we face is believing their lies. The only trap is remaining in their chains. The only risk is continuing to depend on those who never wished us well. Burkina Faso is rising, Africa is rising, and the West is terrified. But this is only the beginning. This is the dawn of a new era. So I ask you, are you ready to walk this road with me? Are you ready to guard this victory? Are you ready to prove to the world that Africa will no longer bow, will no longer beg, will no longer wait? Then stand tall, my people, for the future is here and it belongs to us. Brothers and sisters, sons and daughters of Africa, citizens of Burkina Faso, and all those around the world who still believe in justice, sovereignty, and the rebirth of nations, today I stand before you with news so monumental, so earth-shaking, that it will be spoken of in history books for generations to come. Burkina Faso, once dismissed by the arrogant powers of the world as too small, too weak, too dependent to determine its destiny, has just secured an $80 billion infrastructure deal with India. Let the world hear it clearly. $80 billion not in loans with colonial strings attached, not in aid designed to keep us shackled, not in charity that mocks our dignity. No, this is investment, partnership, and solidarity. This is a deal that speaks to the future, a deal that declares, Burkina Faso will rise, Africa will rise, and no empire on earth can stop what has begun. For centuries, the West has exploited Africa. They drained our gold, our cotton, our uranium, our cocoa, our labor, and even our very dignity. And after they stripped us bare, they returned with so-called development aid money poisoned with conditions, contracts that enslaved our economies, and institutions that dictated how we should live, build, and govern. They gave with one hand, but with the other, they took tenfold. That was the cycle of dependency they imposed upon us. But today, that cycle has been shattered. Burkina Faso has chosen a new path, with India a nation that knows the bitter taste of colonialism, a nation that has walked the hard road of self-reliance. A nation that has risen from poverty to become a global force. We have found a partner that treats us not as subjects but as equals. $80 billion, my brothers and sisters. Do you grasp the magnitude of what that means? It means roads that connect every corner of our land, railways that link our cities to our neighbors', dams that provide power to every home, hospitals that heal our sick, universities that train our children, and factories that turn our raw potential into finished wealth. It means airports that will welcome the world, seaports that will connect us to markets across the globe, and digital networks that will make Burkina Faso not a forgotten corner, but a hub of innovation, trade, and prosperity. This is not a dream, This is not a fantasy. This is reality. The ink is dry, the signatures are written, and the world is trembling. For when the West hears of $80 billion flowing into Burkina Faso, not from Paris, not from Washington, not from London, but from New Delhi, they are forced to confront a truth they have denied for too long. Africa is no longer theirs to control. Do you know what the Western media says today? They say impossible. They say, how can Burkina Faso handle $80 billion? They say, this must be a mistake, this must be a trick, but what they really mean is this: how dare an African nation think big? How dare Burkina Faso dream beyond the crumbs we allow them? How dare they look east instead of west? To that, I answer, we dare because we are free. We dare because the blood of our ancestors demands it. We dare because for too long we were told to remain small, and now we have decided to grow. We dare because we know that Africa's future will not be written in Washington or Paris, but in Ouagadougou, Bamako, Niamey, Accra, Lagos, and Johannesburg, and do not think that India comes as a master. No, India comes as a friend who has walked the same road of humiliation under colonial chains. India knows what it is to be robbed by empire, to be told it cannot industrialize, to be mocked for its poverty and underestimated for its strength. And yet today, India builds satellites, nuclear reactors, bullet trains, digital empires, and a defense industry that rivals the great powers. They did not do it by waiting for permission from the West, they did it by daring. And now they extend their hand to us, saying, rise with us, build with us, dream with us. This $80 billion deal is not just about money, it is about dignity. It is about telling every child in Burkina Faso that the future is theirs, not something stolen by foreign corporations. It is about telling every farmer that the roads will carry their goods to market. It is about telling every worker that factories will rise and jobs will be created. It is about telling every student that their minds will no longer be wasted, but will become the engines of innovation. And make no mistake, the West is shocked. Why? Because they believed Africa had no options. They believed that if they closed their banks, if they cut their loans, if they punished us with sanctions, we would crawl back begging. But instead, we turned east. Instead, we found new partners. Instead, we chose sovereignty. And now they must face the reality that their monopoly is broken. Already, Washington whispers of concerns. Paris speaks of risks, London warns of debt traps, but where were their concerns when they bled us dry? Where were their warnings when their corporations stole our gold and left our people in misery? Where were their worries when their military bases occupied our soil without our consent? Their concern is not for Burkina Faso. Their concern is for their own power. Their fear is that if Burkina Faso rises with India, then Mali will rise, Niger will rise, Guinea will rise, and soon the entire Sahel, the entire continent, will no longer bow to them. Their fear is that Africa will not only feed itself, clothe itself, and defend itself, but that Africa will compete with them. And that fear, my brothers and sisters, is the music of our liberation. Imagine the transformation that is coming. New highways connecting Ouagadougou to the region, cutting travel time in half, modern railroads linking our mines to our factories and our factories to international ports, energy projects that will ensure every village has light, every industry has power, and every household has access to modern life, water infrastructure that will ensure no child dies of thirst, no farmer loses crops to drought, and digital connectivity that will make Burkina Faso part of the global knowledge economy, not left behind but standing shoulder to shoulder with the world. This is the power of $80 billion invested in a vision of progress, and let me be clear, this deal is not charity, it is partnership. India gains as well, they will trade with us, they will co-build with us, they will find markets for their companies, and we will find strength in their experience. It is a relationship of equals, and that is what makes it revolutionary. The West cannot understand this because their entire history with Africa has been built on inequality. They took and we gave, they dictated and we obeyed, they lent and we repaid tenfold. But those days are over. Today we speak as partners, not as subjects. Do not underestimate what is coming, my people. The West will fight back. They will use propaganda. They will whisper lies in our ears. They will say India seeks to colonize us. They will try to pit us against our brothers and sisters. They will attempt sabotage, economic blackmail, and political pressure. But we must remain vigilant, we must remain united. We must remember that every road they try to block is a road we can build ourselves. Every barrier they put before us is a barrier we can shatter. When the colonizers came, they told us that railroads and cities and universities were only for them, not for us. They told us our role was to dig and to carry, while they lived in comfort. But now, with $80 billion, we will build our own cities, our own industries, our own future. And this time, it will not serve their empires, it will serve our people. My brothers and sisters, remember this day, the day Burkina Faso dared to think on a scale that terrified the mighty, the day we looked at the so-called superpowers and said, we will not wait for your permission to grow, the day we chose partnership over subjugation, the day we embraced the road of sovereignty. This is only the beginning. Brothers and sisters, as I continue before you today, let us not mistake the meaning of what has begun. The signing of this $80 billion infrastructure pact between Burkina Faso and India is not an isolated event. It is a spark, a signal, a declaration, and this signal has not gone unnoticed around the world. Governments, corporations and citizens are watching with shock, with disbelief, with fear, and with admiration. Let us speak first of the West, because it is in their halls of power that panic has erupted most loudly. In Washington, officials are gathering in emergency meetings, asking one another, how did Burkina Faso, a nation they thought was trapped in their financial grip, suddenly leap beyond their control? How did a country they dismissed as small and dependent secure $80 billion from a rising global power without their permission? The very thought enrages them. They are not angry because they care about us. They are angry because they see their influence slipping away. In Paris, the whispers are even louder. For decades, they treated West Africa as their private estate, where decisions were made in the palace and then imposed on our governments. They believed that no African country could move without their blessing. And yet here we stand, announcing the largest infrastructure investment in our history, negotiated not in Paris, but in Ouagadougou and New Delhi. To France, this is nothing short of betrayal, not by us, but by history itself, which has turned against their empire of illusion. In London, they issue polite warnings about sustainability and debt risks. But the truth is, Britain has no concern for our sustainability. They are concerned for their fading relevance. Once they called themselves the empire on which the sun never sets. Today, they watch as the sun rises in the Sahel, and they realize that Africa no longer needs them. Yes, my people, the West is shocked, but let us be clear, their shock is our triumph, their fear is our strength, their disbelief is our proof that we are walking a path they thought impossible. Now let us turn to the East, to those who see our victory not with envy but with solidarity. In Beijing, they nod in recognition, for they too have invested in Africa, building railways, ports, and power plants. They understand that a new Africa rising is not a threat but an opportunity for partnership. In Moscow, they watch closely, offering their congratulations, knowing that the multipolar world they have championed grows stronger with every deal that bypasses Western control. In the capitals of Asia, Latin America, and the Middle East, leaders whisper to themselves, if Burkina Faso can do it, so can we. And in Africa itself, this news has spread like wildfire. In Bamako, Niamey, Conakry, Accra, Lagos, and Nairobi, leaders are asking their people, why should we beg the West for aid when we can strike bold partnerships like Burkina Faso? Why should we accept crumbs when we can demand banquets? Why should we fear sanctions when unity gives us strength? The courage of one nation has ignited the courage of many, and soon Africa will speak with one voice, a voice that cannot be silenced. My brothers and sisters, let us not underestimate what this $80 billion deal truly represents. It is not simply about roads and bridges, though they will transform our land. It is not only about railways and factories, though they will employ our people. It is not just about hospitals and schools, though they will save our children and prepare our future. No, it is about something far greater. It is about the reclamation of destiny. For too long, Africa has been told that we are poor, but we are not poor. We are rich in resources, rich in culture, rich in spirit, rich in youth, rich in potential. The only poverty we suffered was the poverty of sovereignty, the poverty of independence, the poverty of self-belief. That poverty ends now. And yet, let us not be naive. This road we have chosen is not easy. The West will not surrender its grip willingly. Already, they plot. They will unleash their propaganda machines, filling newspapers, television screens, and social media with lies. They will say India seeks to recolonize us. They will say $80 billion is too much, too risky, too dangerous. They will pay so-called experts to warn us of hidden traps. But let us remember who these experts serve. They do not serve Burkina Faso. They do not serve Africa. They serve the powers whose wealth was built on our misery. They will try to divide us. They will whisper to our neighbors, telling them Burkina Faso seeks dominance, not partnership. They will try to sow jealousy, suspicion, and fear. But we must respond with unity, with clarity, with solidarity. For if one of us rises, we all rise. If Burkina Faso builds, Africa builds. If Burkina Faso stands sovereign, Africa stands sovereign, they may even attempt more direct sabotage. They may try to destabilize our nation, to bribe our officials, to fund opposition movements that do not seek progress but obedience to foreign masters. They may even threaten us with sanctions, cutting off their markets and their currencies. But we are not afraid, for what is a sanction but a chain? And what is the purpose of chains but to bind? If the West attempts to chain us, let them know, Burkina Faso has broken chains before, and we will break them again. We must prepare ourselves for this struggle. We must be vigilant, disciplined, and determined. Every worker must know that their labor is building a future that terrifies the powerful. Every student must know that their studies are weapons sharper than swords. Every farmer must know that their harvest is part of a revolution greater than armies. Every mother, every father, every child must know that they are soldiers in this struggle for sovereignty, and let us not forget our brothers and sisters in other African nations. Let us extend our hand not only to India, but to Mali, Niger, Guinea, Ghana, Nigeria, South Africa, Ethiopia, and beyond. Let us build not only roads within Burkina Faso but highways across the continent. Let us connect not only our markets but our destinies. Let us forge an Africa that is no longer a playground for empires but a pillar of the world. The time of waiting is over. The time of asking is over. The time of begging is over. We will no longer wait for the West to save us because they never intended to. We will no longer ask for permission to develop because development is our right. We will no longer beg for crumbs from the tables of the rich because we are building our own tables, our own banquets, our own future. And so I call upon the youth of Burkina Faso. This $80 billion deal is not for me, it is for you. Take it, own it, guard it, and build with it. Do not allow corruption, laziness, or sabotage to steal it from you. Let every school built be filled with eager minds. Let every road be traveled by hard-working hands. Let every hospital be staffed by healers who know that health is not a privilege but a right. Let every factory roar with the sound of production, not exploitation, to the farmers. Let the new irrigation projects be your weapons against hunger, to the workers. Let the new industries be your battlefield against unemployment, to the entrepreneurs. Let the new markets be your arena of innovation, to the soldiers. Let the new infrastructure be your defense of sovereignty, to the teachers. Let the new schools be your sanctuaries of wisdom, to the elders. Let the new hospitals be your havens of dignity, to every citizen. Let this deal be your covenant of progress. And to India, we say this: thank you for walking this path with us. Thank you for seeing in Burkina Faso not a market to exploit but a partner to uplift. Thank you for believing in our strength when others mocked it. Together we will build, together we will prosper, together we will prove that solidarity between nations of the global South can shake the foundations of empire. Now, as I conclude, let me say this to the West, to those who once ruled us, those who still seek to control us: your time is over. You can no longer dictate our future. You can no longer decide our destiny. You can no longer steal our resources and chain our children to poverty. We are awake, we are rising, we are moving forward, and nothing you do can stop us. Burkina Faso has spoken, Africa is speaking, the world is listening, and history is watching. This $80 billion deal is not the end of a journey, it is the beginning of an era of independence, an era of sovereignty, an era of dignity, an era of African greatness. So rise, Burkina Faso, rise, Africa, rise, children of the sun. The chains are broken, the road is open, and the future is ours to claim.